Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day, everyone. Welcome back to EMV521 MOOC series, Wastewater Management. Today, we are diving into a crucial topic, common wastewater treatment system, specifically focusing on sewage. This lecture is designed to give you a clear, systematic understanding of how we turn contaminated sewage into safe effluent. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to achieve two main objectives. First, you'll be able to discuss the common sewage treatment system, the different technologies that plants use, and second, and perhaps more importantly, you'll be able to elaborate on the mechanisms and the fundamental importance of sewage treatment. Understanding the why behind each step is as vital as knowing the how. This knowledge is foundational to protecting public health and our environment. Let's begin with the basic. Sewage is essentially the domestic wastewater generated from our homes, businesses, and institutions. It is a complex mix containing organic matter, high levels of nutrient like nitrogen and phosphorus, pathogens that cause diseases, and various solids. Why is treating essential? Untreated sewage poses significant risk. It pollutes water bodies, contaminates groundwater, and leads to the spread of severe waterborne diseases like cholera and typhoid. Effective treatment is an act of safeguarding public health, conserving water resources, especially in water scarce regions, and preventing the damage of aquatic ecosystems by reducing pollution and contamination. Modern sewage treatment is a multi-stage process that systematically removes contaminants, moving from the largest particles down to the microscopic level. Our roadmap for today involves five key stages, which are preliminary treatment, primary treatment, secondary or biological treatment, tertiary or advanced treatment, and sludge treatment and disposal. Preliminary treatment is the very first step when sewage enters a plant, and its main goal is protection. First, we have the screening, where the wastewater passes through bar screens to remove large debris such as rags, plastics, and other solid objects that could damage pumps and equipment downstream. Next is grid removal, where the flow is slowed down to allow heavy inorganic materials like sand, gravel, and eggshells, collectively called grit, to settle out. Finally, sometimes flow equalization is used to stabilize the fluctuating flow rates of incoming sewage. Removing these coarse solids is vital. It's not a major pollutant reduction step, but it ensures the reliability and longevity of the entire plant. Moving to primary treatment. The process here is predominantly physical and relies on gravity. The sewage flows in slowly into large circular or rectangular tanks called primary clarifiers or sedimentation tanks. Here, the remaining suspended organic solids settle to the bottom of the gravity to form what we call primary sludge. Simultaneously, lighter materials like oil and grease floats to the surface, where they are mechanically skimmed off. This stage is highly effective, typically removing 50 to 60% of all suspended solids and reducing the biochemical oxygen demand or BOD by about 30 to 40%. This significant reduction greatly decreases the organic load, making the subsequent biological treatment step much more efficient and cost effective. Secondary treatment is where the magic of biology happens. The primary effluent, though clearer, still contains fine colloidal matter and dissolved organic contaminants. This stage is designed to remove these pollutants using living organisms, primarily bacteria and protozoa. The microorganisms feed on the organic matter, converting it into cell tissue, water, and gases like carbon dioxide. This process drastically reduces the BOD. There are several common ways to manage this biological process, including the activated sludge system and the sequencing batch reactor, and also trickling filters and aerated lagoons. So we will now explore all these common systems. The activated sludge process is the most widely used secondary treatment method. The primary effluent enters an aeration basin where large volumes of air are continuously pumped in. This oxygen supply is essential for the aerobic bacteria, which are mixed in the with water. These bacteria, collectively called the activated sludge, actively consume the organic pollutant, or we call it the food, in the water and breaking them down. After about 8 hours of aeration, the mix flows into a secondary clarifier. Here, the microbial floc or activated sludge settles to the bottom, leaving highly clarified water to flow out. A large portion of this settled sludge is then returned to the aeration basin to maintain a healthy population of microorganisms, keeping the process going. Another biological method is the trickling filter. Unlike the suspended growth of the activated sludge, this system uses a fixed film approach. Wastewater is distributed over a bed of media, which can be rocks or synthetic plastic materials. As the water trickles down, a layer of microorganisms or a biofilm grows on the surface of the media. These microbes then oxidize and consume the organic matter in the wastewater. The major advantages of the trickling filter are its simplicity and its ability to handle fluctuations in flow, offering stable operation. However, its efficiency in removing BOD is generally lower compared to the fully mixed activated sludge process. The sequencing batch reactor, or SBR, is a flexible alternative that performs all the biological treatment steps, aeration and sedimentation, in a single tank, but at different times. It operates in a time cycle with four key phases. There are fill, react, settle, and draw. For fill, raw wastewater enters, react where air is introduced for the microbes, settle where the sludge is allowed to separate by gravity, and draw where the clarified effluent is discharged. The SBR is highly favored for its flexibility and operational control, making it particularly suitable for smaller to medium-sized communities or decentralized systems where flow can be highly variable. Tertiary treatment, also known as advanced treatment, is the final step to polish the water to highest quality required for safe discharge or for reuse applications. The main focus here is nutrient removal, primarily for nitrogen and phosphorus. High level of these nutrients cause eutrophication, excessive algal growth in receiving waters. Technique employed include filtration through media like sand, chemical precipitation to remove phosphorus, and advanced technologies like membranes and reverse osmosis. This stage ensures the removal of any remaining fine solids, trace organics, and pathogens to meet stringent regulatory standards. Disinfection is the final barrier before the treated water is safely released back into the environment. Its purpose is to destroy or inactivate any residual pathogenic organisms like bacteria and viruses to prevent the transmission of waterborne diseases. There are three major methods. Chlorination is common and inexpensive, but the residual chlorine must often be removed or dechlorinated. Ultraviolet or UV light is another method that works by destroying the organism's ability to reproduce, and it has the advantage of not requiring any added chemicals. Lastly, ozone is a powerful disinfectant, though typically more expensive than chlorine. Disinfection is the essential last checkpoint to ensure a safe effluent release. While we have focused on the water, the solid material, the sludge collected from the primary and secondary clarifiers, also needs extensive treatment. The sludge treatment process has three main goals. The first one is to reduce its volume, to stabilize the organic content, and to eliminate pathogens. It typically involves three steps: thickening, to remove some water, and then digestion, often using anaerobic microorganisms in large tanks to break down organic matter, which also produces useful biogas. And finally, dewatering, using methods like belt filters or centrifuges to further reduce the water content. The final stabilized product can then be used beneficially, such as for agricultural fertilizer or sent to a landfill or incinerator, depending on its quality and local regulations. In summary, sewage treatment is a sophisticated process that involves multiple stages working in concert. From the initial physical removal of large solids in preliminary and primary steps to the biological degradation in the secondary stage, and finally to the advanced chemical and physical polishing of tertiary treatment. This comprehensive approach is not just a technological requirement, but an ethical necessity to safeguard public health, protect our delicate water bodies, and move toward a more sustainable water management future. And with that, I am Razi Ikhwan bin Muhammad Rashid. Until we meet again, goodbye.